and they lived happily ever after. The end of every childhood story, except in this case, it wasn't the end. Because that moment, the moment I heard those words, that was simply the beginning. 6 years old, and I sit on my mother's lap. I listen to the cadence of her voice shift as the heroine once again saves the day, as she's carried away by the arms of her Prince Charming into their happily ever after. I learned so much of the good and the joy. I learned that Prince Charming can take away a curse with a simple kiss, yet I never learned that sometimes Prince Charming coats his lips in poison. 6-year-old me dreamt of a man who would whisk me off my feet. I would bathe in his attention as I encouraged his conceptual misogyny that my love can be bought, that I can be silenced. Young girls around the world, many I do not doubt in this very room, have wished for their happily ever after. They seek out a man to show them love, but instead they find one in their pants. And she's now stuck in a cycle. A rapid motion of constant ache and pain, a ringing in her ear, all because she nodded when I asked. The ringing spirals through her body. It bounces off every bone, and she wants to scream with all her might from the bottom of her soul. She wants to shout, no! But that's just her being boring. So she sends a reluctant nod after countless hours of whining and guilt. The next day, she sees him in the hall. She's so glad to be ripped from the grasp she was held in, glad to be free from the begging, but to her surprise, or possibly no surprise at all, he continued to plead. He was hooked on the high he got from the feeling of control over her body. She was his obsession, his fetish. The relentless begging and begging until every night he got what he wanted. Until he got information. Until he got pictures. Until he got the key to the chains wrapped around her legs and the only hand to pull the zipper free from her mouth. Well, why didn't you leave? The simplest yet hardest question facing this world. Why didn't you leave? Because that wasn't how the fairy tale went. The fairy tale didn't tell you that there was a price to pay to even be seen in this world, that love disguises itself as free and holds the bank-breaking price tag hidden behind its back. We need to better this world and rid it of the ignorance and disrespect towards women, this form of violation, of psychological abuse. It has been ingrained into the minds of women all across the world, all across this room, yet no one is wanting to do anything about it. Women, teens, girls. They get coerced into uncomfortable situations. Some don't know what to do. Others try and leave but run the risk of blackmail, of social rejection, of reputation damage, physical abuse, or worse. Sometimes there is no choice. And we are taught that this is love, the manipulation, the abuse, and pain, that pain is love, but love never blames you for the tears. Why does the only choice in a woman's life at this point seem to be choosing between a taser and pepper spray? To strap our kids so that they too can say, I've been carrying pepper spray since middle school. Knowing that they are unaware of the reason, but it'll probably be something they figure out the hard way. I have a friend who doesn't have a desire to have sex, yet her parents urge her on birth control. They don't advise it because she may change her mind. They advise it because they don't trust underage boys who blow off homework and dream, consensual or not, of nothing but sex. Why, instead of telling young boys to treat women with respect, are we forcing our daughters to take extensive measures that could do worse than good? Why do we teach girls that they need to better themselves, their modesty, or their respect if they feel uncomfortable? Why do you teach us that it's our fault? RAIN.org tells us that 1 in 6 women will undergo at least one attempted or completed rape in their lifetime. Many more suffer with sexual harassment, sexual assault, or abuse, yet everyone loves to excuse the actions of the men. Well, did you see what she was wearing? Or she was asking for it. DoSomething.org says that 1/3 of teenage girls will suffer in an abusive relationship. So I stand here, asking, will you? Will you do something? Because it is time to stop making excuses for the ones with the bruised knuckles and realize that the bruises on her chest may be covered by layers of clothing and makeup, but they are far more important. It's time to start educating young girls on being smart and finding the signs, but more importantly, it's time to better educate sons, nephews, and cousins on the proper human decency this generation seems to be lacking. To create a happily ever after. My fairy tale is a world where the princess can walk home alone at night. Where she can wear the new dress she got just because she likes it. Where she can come home to her partner without feeling her heart through her chest, wondering what person he'll be today. Where she could have seen the red flags before they were so predominantly dripping in blood that every time she tries to raise the white, it instantly turns red. Where she can feel safe, seen, and happy. And for now, that's all it is. A fairy tale. Because last time I checked, Cinderella never owned a taser.